But particularly for the newcomers who haven't participated in any of our events, I thought I would just take 2 minutes, give a little bit of an overture, a little bit of an overview, I should say, of the World Economic Forum and what we do, just as context for the next days. And then I'll hand it off to my colleagues who can talk a little bit about some of our objectives and what we have in mind specifically over the next sessions. So as a very broad background, the World Economic Forum is a nonprofit foundation headquartered in Switzerland that really focuses on bringing together the world's leaders to focus on some of the many challenges that we face. More specifically, we bring together the private sector together with government, with leading academics, with media, with all parts of civil society to focus in particular on what we call shaping the global industry and regional agendas, which is really another way of expressing that we're trying to focus on the core issues that society focuses on from an industry perspective, from a regional perspective, or from a broad global perspective, which really includes policy areas, which includes broad thematic concepts like education or innovation or many other things. In that context, we bring together a number of different constituencies around the world in different ways. And if you look around the room, you'll see quite a number of different people who really focus on different aspects of this problem, but often in very different ways, from academics to business people to media leaders to other thought leaders, all of whom have probably thought about, taken decisions focused on, and really have a role in terms of how one thinks about innovation very broadly defined. This fits very broadly into the forum's agenda of focusing on a number of different issues. But I think all of you will quickly see as we go into the specific content how the many facets of innovation have policy implications, have fundamental questions with respect to business, have real implications in terms of how society as a whole fosters our creative efforts in order to have real impact on many of the key questions. So with that as a bit of a background, you'll hear more about the forum as we go through. And in some ways, we hope that this will be an embodiment, so to speak, at least an example of what the forum is really about, which is about collaboration, which is around bringing different people together in thoughtful and challenging ways. And perhaps, as importantly, taking a lot of what comes out of here and translating it into real action and impact. In order to put on the events, or at least all that's taking place here today, I have a couple of specific people that I wanted to thank, since this has been a collaborative effort in and of itself. First, I wanted to thank Stanford Library, Mike Keller and his team, who were kind enough to arrange for our facilities today, and we're very grateful. I really wanted to thank McKinsey, Andre Andonian and his team, who have really been working extremely closely with us over the past months in order to structure a lot of the content that you'll see here today, in order to add some real substantive rigor to what we're going to be doing. So thank you to the team, which is going to be around here and helping us out very prominently throughout the day. Two more groups I wanted to thank. One was ValueWeb, which is the team that helps assemble not only this physical space, but works really on structuring a lot of how we're going to use it in a meaningful way. And so we're grateful to Todd and his team for all that they're going to do over the next time, and really their thought leadership in structuring this. And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, I wanted to thank Simon Allen and the broader team from the forum that has spent a lot of time, not only here today, but really thinking about and structuring these issues over the past couple of months. I think the topic of innovation has been an extremely amorphous one. And when we talk today, you'll see that there's some real rigor in terms of how we're hoping to address the topic and think about that. A lot of that real rigor and thought leadership comes not only from people I've mentioned, but from real efforts on the part of Simon and Alan and the team to get their hands around this problem, to structure how we're not only going to think about it, but what are the implications of some of these thoughts. And so you're in very good hands throughout the day in terms of how we use our time productively. So thank you both. Thank you to the broader team. And I very much look forward to participating with all of you. I'll mention one other final note of encouragement throughout the day. We very much would like this session and these days to be innovative and thought-provoking, and so that we are living up to the promise, so to speak, of being creative as we go. So with that being said, very much all of you are encouraged to interrupt, to point things out, to challenge our thinking, not only on the content but on the structure, not only in terms of how we want to come up with some of the results.
Are you sure you want to stay?
Yeah, yes. the answer is yes, and continue to do so. I say this not at all in jest. If this session feels like every other one that the forum has done or ones that you have participated in the past, then we will feel like we have not succeeded. So I hope that's not the last one. With that overture, thank you, and leave you in good hands.
So I just want to kind of introduce you to sort of what this represents inside the forum and where we hope we take this discussion beyond this particular event. So as part of the IT and telecom industry practice, we work on a number of programs. This is one of them. This has been ongoing for more than a year, actually, this being the latest incarnation of this discussion. Our intent is to take a lot of what we learned here, a lot of the questions that have been answered, and a lot of the new questions that come out of these discussions, actually to our Council on the Global Agenda that's actually focused on this very topic, where we have about 15, 17 people from around the world that are going to start to think in terms of a broader agenda on what this represents and what we, as an industry or set of industries, can do in the developing world and in the developed world to change the face of where this heads. So the culmination of that discussion actually happens in Dubai at the beginning of November, and there will be subsequent discussions after that. The hope out of that discussion is actually to bring to the CEOs or the leaders of the industry that meet in Davos a discussion around this topic that gives them a lot more insight to some of the directions they might want to take, or to create some of the challenges that we may need to take back and investigate as part of the discussion that happens there. Finally, we want to look at this not only as a culmination within the tech sector of a lot of work and data, but as a way to bring this knowledge out to a lot of other industries. Because innovation is not just about technology. Technology is certainly at the forefront of what we think innovation is, and we're going to learn a lot more of what that actually means to all of us. But there's a lot of industries that have innovative thinking in all kinds of ways, and how do we start to bring them into the dialogue and really think in terms of interdisciplinary types of invention and innovation. So this is really the beginning of a lot of discussions that will continue, as well as the culmination of a lot of data and discussions that have happened up to this far. So for all of you that are familiar with the forum, thank you for coming and participating. For those that are quite new, if you have other questions and you want other information about other things that are happening in the forum, please don't hesitate to ask anyone with a blue badge, and we'll be happy to get you additional information and have ongoing discussions if that's appropriate with some of the things you're thinking about. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Simon, who will give you a little bit more on what's happening right now and how this is going to be structured.